Welcome to Nugget 82 with Steve Groman. Today we're going to talk about Tamu Massif. What on earth is Tamu Massif?
Well, it is a volcano that is responsible for some very interesting information about the seafloor.
And Tamu, I understand that stands for Texas Agricultural and Mechanical University, where this guy who studies Tamu went to school.
That is correct. Well, let's just delve into it. It's in Scientific American, May 2020, just the other day. Tamu Massif Redo is the title of the article. It says a new explanation for the giant Tamu Massif volcano rewrites the story of how the seafloor formed.
This is a picture of a 3D map of Tamu Massif. It's the largest known volcano on Earth. It is around 4 miles high from its base and about 1,000 miles east of Japan. Tamu Massif is around 120,000 square miles across, which is approximately the size of New Mexico. The volcano even rivals Olympus Mons in size. Olympus Mons? That's on Mars.
Yeah, these guys were on board a ship. They were out there exploring the area, Tamu Massif, doing some more research on it. For the umpteenth time, I was looking at a map that showed somewhat parallel stripes along the seafloor around Tamu Massif, an enormous ancient volcano. Each stripe indicated how a band of seafloor was magnetized, positively or negatively. But the pattern did not agree with how I thought Tamu Massif had erupted. Then it goes on talking about he'd been studying this volcano for more than 2 decades. I had published the definitive papers giving the volcano its name and explaining its history. So my insight was only partly a eureka moment. My old ideas and everyone else's about this volcano formed had been wrong.
They're evolutionists. They're not about to understand when it was formed. They may know how it was formed because I guess the actual mechanism of a volcano can be understood, correct?
Yes, except for in this case, it's beneath the ocean, so it's a little bit hard to get direct data on. The thing of it is that is very, very interesting to me is this is the guy that named the thing. This is the guy that told everybody how, when, where, what, how it all formed. And now he's admitting it's been wrong. What is interesting about that is the way the textbooks present stuff as a fact. It goes with everything to do with evolution. It's all presented as a fact when it's really not. And they'll admit it sometime weeks, months, sometimes years later, but it's just so sad when people believe it. It was essentially flat. Its broad slopes dip about 1 degree in the middle toward the edges, whereas typical undersea volcanoes have a decline of about 5 to 10 degrees. Imagine an entire football field covered by a taut gray tarp with a stick just 60 centimeters high popping up at midfield. Well, you know what volcanoes look like he says here, 5 to 10 degrees of angle drop on these things. But now he's talking about a whole football field with a tarp over it with 60 centimeters high spot in the middle is what this volcano is. So to say he's got it wrong is quite an understatement, I think. Although Tamu Massif shapes seem to reflect this eruption process, the data I have collected since 2015 show that this is not what happened. Once again, my point with this is not necessarily to discuss Tamu Massif in and of itself, to show clearly that in these science publications that what is being taught all along the way always will come back and they'll say that it's just not true.
Well, I saw this one part of the article that says Tamu Massif lurks under 2,000 meters of seawater, and they have these colored stripes representing the volcano's unusual magnetic signature reveal its curious creation. What can you tell us about these colored stripes and its curious creation?
Well, the colors are purely from the algorithm that the computer has. They're saying that it was positive and negative bands of magnetized material that came up out of this thing is what they're claiming there. That's another topic for another time. Take too long for this article, but that is what those are. This new insight means scientists have misunderstood how dozens of immense underwater volcanoes have created more than 5% of the Earth's current seafloor. Indeed, we have stumbled on an entirely new type of volcano. If Tamu Massif or one of its cousins erupted again, it could make the Pacific Ocean more acidic, killing all of the marine life. It could also release large amounts of greenhouse gases into the ocean and into the atmosphere, and they go on with the political slant there. But realize what they're saying here. Dozens of these underwater volcanoes, they've had it wrong for all this time.
So I guess your point is they study volcanoes on the surface, and then now they've got this huge one in the water. The guy comes up with a theory on it, writes the definitive papers on it, and now he's out on this ship bouncing around, finding contradictory information, and now they're just going to call it a whole new different kind of volcano?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm gathering from
Yeah,
this?
not only that one, but these things are responsible, they say, for much of the seafloor. They've had the whole seafloor wrong for all these years then. This
Don't
is
they
May.
have maps and topos and drawings
Well, you would
of the
think so, but
seafloor?
this is May 2020. They're admitting that that stuff is wrong. It's amazing.
Now they are going to tell us that they know about a volcano on Mars, and they're still not sure about one on the seafloor here on Earth? I don't think so.
Now listen to some of this stuff. It had been branded Earth's largest shield volcano. No longer deserves that title. In fact, if you go to Wikipedia today, look at Tamu Massif, it says it is Earth's largest shield volcano. It's still printed that way, but that's not true anymore. Tamu Massif formed gradually over several million years, they say, about 145 million years ago. Well, that's just preposterous. They could believe that, just like they believe they had it right in the first place. That doesn't mean it's true at all.
Well, how can they know 145 million years ago when they don't even know what kind of volcano it is? It's 2,000 meters below seawater. All speculation, and that's great that they're studying it, but we need to understand that when they promote these things as fact, it's just their best guesstimate at the time based on the information that they have.
Well, right, but they said all volcanoes, they say, they form when several eruptions over millions of years, like I just read there, is what formed this thing. But listen to this quote. He says, I concluded that the volcano must have formed from one eruption event in a short time. Well, I wonder what we have as a mechanism that could explain one event that happened in a short time. Now, granted, it was over a year, maybe only within the 40 days and 40 nights time frame of Noah's flood. The point is, that is a very short time frame in comparison to what they come up with millions and millions of years.
Tamu Massif was just formed when the fountains of the Great Deep broke up.
Exactly. One major event.
Why do we need to make it complicated? It's this
It's
awesome
amazing.
volcano that's in the seafloor, and it happened at the time of Noah's flood.
Right. And this guy published papers in Nature Geoscience indicating that Tamu Massif was an enormous shield volcano. Soon enough, the media declared that the scientists had discovered the world's largest shield volcano. And that was its title for many, many, many years. And now they're saying, not true. Something else of interest, these stripes you're talking about, there are several of them that take a sharp 90-degree turn. Now, that is not possible, they say, in the normal activity of what a volcano would do. But once again, they have to come up with a story to account for it. So they say some of this broke off and shifted and all that. Well, once again, that is pure belief. People can believe whatever they want to. The fact of the matter is there's no evidence for it. There's no science for it because you have to observe, test, demonstrate. Listen to how this thing ends. My colleagues and I have collected a lot of seafloor data and core samples drilled from the area basalts that are helping us convince other scientists that our interpretations are correct. So now, just the way he had the credit for naming this thing in the first place, now he's trying to convince other scientists that what he's now believing is correct.
So believe my backtrack.
Exactly, believe my backtrack. One last thing, what it says as I wrap it up. Why did we get the picture wrong before? Does it matter if Tamu Massif is not a classic shield volcano? We were wrong because submarine volcanoes hide under thousands of meters of water, so we cobbled together a picture of fragmental data. Imagine trying to reconstruct a dinosaur from just a tooth and a toe bone.
Well, isn't that what they do?
Yeah. He just is now admitting that all of the research and things that they did in the first place to name this thing in the first place, Tamu Massif, and to qualify what it is, the world's largest shield volcano and responsible for so much of the Earth's crust under the seafloor, is not true. It was just all manufactured.
Conjecture.
Just like you would do from a dinosaur tooth and a toe bone and make a whole dinosaur out of it. That is an amazing admission. Noah's flood did it all. One single event.
Absolutely. And it's just the fountains of the Great Deep breaking up. All right. Well, I think they say something really interesting at the end here, don't they?
Well, yeah, they absolutely do. They say if your assumptions are incorrect, the picture will be incorrect too. Tamu Massif is no longer the largest shield volcano on Earth because it is not a shield volcano. We assumed that it formed like other volcanoes, but that was bad assumption. Instead, we found a new family of volcanic mountains, a new explanation of how giant features on Earth were formed, and there are dozens of them under the sea. Once again, he is just admitting that it is all based on assumption. So are these finds legitimate? Just like when they first found it and discovered it, qualified it, people assumed that was true too. But those assumptions were bad. You just never really know the truth. But one thing we do know, thy word is truth. And God says there was a big flood, one event that did a lot of transformation on this earth. We are the ones with the mechanism.
And we don't need to complicate it. And we don't need to spend millions of dollars and try and get government grants to make ourselves seem famous or become famous.
That's true, but it'd be kind of nice to get out on that ship.
All right, well, thank you. This is a listener-supported ministry, and if you are enjoying these nuggets and the other videos that we have been producing and putting on our YouTube channel, Steve Groman, and on Facebook, we certainly appreciate if you are able to partner with us on a monthly basis or even consider a one-time donation. We are a listener-supported ministry. Thank you.